Hey everybody, Garrett here. I just wanted to give you a heads up that after recording this episode, we realized there were some technical issues with my mic, and my audio didn't record as crisp and beautiful as I typically prefer it to be, so apologies for that. It's still a super fun episode, and audio issues aside, I know you're still going to dig this one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for getting sexy with us these past 10 episodes. Let's get into this week's show.
Ladies, gentlemen, folks beyond the binary, grab your husband, wife, partner, mistress, a psychic blind lady, some shifty eyed Italians, and gather around your radio. It's time for this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club. It's 1973 and your child has tragically died. Yes, you're very sad, but at least you have a work trip to Italy planned. You have a beautiful wife, a beautiful afro, a beautiful mustache, and your carpet matches the drapes. However, now a psychic blind woman says you're cursed, and there's a serial killer on the loose. Um, this one doesn't sound very horny. Does this one get horny? I guess we'll see. This week on the Erotic Thriller Club, don't look now. Welcome to the Erotic Thriller Club. I'm your host, Garrett Callender. No Kit Ryan this week, but as always, we're here to answer the genre's three most important questions. Was I aroused? Was I thrilled? And would I ruin my life for this person? This week, we welcome to the club the front woman of the country western group, Megan The Wheelers, Megan Sampson. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So you picked this one.
I did, and I know. So as I rewatched it, I was like, okay, maybe this was an insane choice, because all I could remember really is that it's thrilling, and that it was horny in only parts, right? So it's like Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie are so sexy, and then there's like this really like iconic sex scene. And so in my mind I was like, you got to watch this one because it's so bizarre. And I think when you started talking about erotic thrillers online, I was like, you got to watch Don't Look Now. Even though technically I think some would be like, it's not really a thriller, it's more horror.
I think that thriller is accurate. I think erotic is the tough one. not, not to say that it isn't. To each their own. Erotic is in the eye of the beholder. Uh, this movie, I guess when you sent it to me, I had never heard of this movie. So thank you for introducing me to this film.
Yeah.
And all I Googled, because sometimes with guests, what do you want to watch? They send me a thing, and I'm like, this is absolutely not an erotic thriller. I Googled, there's no sex in this at all. There's not
Right.
even just a bit of horniness. This one, first thing I Googled was controversial sex scene. And I was like, we'll allow it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's borderline. Yeah, because totally it's not sexy all the way through. Especially when you read the synopsis of it being like grieving parents. Um, but Julie Christie, I think, delivers. She's so beautiful and also sexy throughout, even as a grieving mother. She's got like this shirt she wears that's like looks like fishnet, and you can tell she's not wearing a bra, and her like nipples are always hard. So that's kind of erotic.
Yeah. It was very early 70s of her. And yeah, no, there were moments that like I'm sitting there just watching a couple grieve, and I'm like, well, there's this, there's this. This is something. This is, I mean, something that you could also get from an episode of Friends, maybe. But no, I'm not. So this, okay, I always ask everybody at the start of these, where did erotic thrillers pop up in your life? What do you remember the first one you saw, or do you have a favorite?
Okay, that's a great question because I almost last minute changed it to oh shit, what's the movie with Denise Richards? Um the one that, Erotic Film Club, like you guys' poster is you guys
Wild
in the
Things.
water. Wild Things, right. So my science teacher, like my biology teacher in high school, was like, have you ever seen Wild Things? And I was like, no. And he's like, you look like the actress in it, Denise Richards.
Your high school
And
teacher?
my high school teacher said that.
No, no.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, okay. So I didn't know. I hadn't seen it. And then I didn't like rush out and watch it, but it was definitely one of the first erotic thrillers I'd ever seen. And so when I was watching it, I was like, this is very bizarre that he said that to me. He was no longer my teacher at this point, but also he was like, he'd always talk to me about movies. He'd like sit next to my desk and talk to me about movies. And then he would be like, have you seen In the Cut? He
Oh,
asked he asked me if I'd seen In the Cut. I don't know. He was asking me about all these like crazy, sexy movies, and now it's like the hindsight of it.
and
So
it was your
just
biology teacher.
my biology teacher. Yeah. Yeah.
That I was hoping he was just gonna it was gonna be more innocent. Like, have you seen The World Is Not Enough? And just keep
Yeah.
naming Denise Richards movies. Like there was a more, maybe there was nothing behind it. But either
Yeah.
way, that's the worst movie to ask a child if they'd seen. And it's like you look like, because in that movie wasn't, am I making it up that somebody was a teacher in that movie?
I feel like, yes, I think that there was definitely, oh, there's a teacher in there. I don't remember. It's been so long.
Kevin,
But
not Kevin Dillon, but a Dillon,
yeah, the Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon. He was, I think, a teacher or something. But Denise Richards is also like, yeah, like having sex with her teacher or
Has a
something, or like trying.
threesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, that one. I mean, that movie is erotic.
I don't remember if he was a teacher, but I remember what happened. Uh,
Yeah,
you do have a striking resemblance to Denise Richards. I remember when you did the Drop Dead Gorgeous Mount Rushmore head thing for a Halloween one year, and that was
yeah.
awesome.
It was awesome. I carved that Mount Rushmore myself too. I carved it out of the green foam that you get for like floral settings, and I carved it myself. By the time I was done, I was like, I'm actually really good at this. All of I maybe missed my calling. I should be a sculptor. But yeah, I was also in Chicago, so it was so cold that night, and I had this like, it was cold and windy, and I had this giant Mount Rushmore headpiece that was just like kept threatening to blow off all night. It was fun though, honestly.
So, as far as this movie, when was the first time you've seen this one?
Sometime during like 2020.
This was a pandemic watch.
This was a pandemic watch because I don't know. I think we went on my boyfriend and I went on a big thriller or erotic thriller. We were watching like Single White Female, and we watched the Glenn Close one,
The Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction. I had never seen it, and so we watched that one. So we were just kind of on a thing, and then somebody else told us you should watch Don't Look Now, and it was in the same idea. Like, so they posed it to me as an erotic thriller, I think, and so in my
Mhm.
mind, it's an erotic thriller. Very specifically, I was interested in the sex scene because it's very controversial, because a lot of people think that it was real, right? There's like a rumor that it was like they were actually having sex, Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland.
Some, yeah, reading through, I've seen several different places where that was very much the rumor at the time, is that the sex scene in this movie was real, and Julie, Christie was Warren Beatty's girlfriend.
Yes, yeah.
And I guess he was very upset, which I mean, I guess if in 1973 you're not seeing a lot of sex scenes in movies, which we've also done another movie that isn't technically an erotic thriller. We did Notorious, where Alfred Hitchcock got past the code because you couldn't have somebody kissing more than 3 seconds.
Oh,
So
wow.
they just kept stop kissing and then restarting, and they do it for a very long time. Uh, pretty damn erotic for 19 whatever. But then we get up to this one where we have two actors naked and it's making Warren Beatty mad.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see where there were the rumors that the director Nicholas Rogue had how did they phrase this, like an outtakes cut of this with real sex that he was screening to people like some kind of creep? And I guess
No.
it says actress and model Susanna Moore in her memoir told a story of Nicholas Rogue and Warren Beatty both being at the same party at her house, and Warren Beatty punching Nicholas Rogue in the face.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
That just shows how good Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie did this scene.
Seriously. It looked real. And it is very sexy. And then it's like the way that it's spliced with like them getting dressed afterwards is so, I don't know, it's just like it's so hot. You know, that scene is very sexy. So I think Julie Christie recently said something like it's offensive to her that people thought it was real. It's just like didn't give her or the director or Donald Sutherland any credit for how real they made it look. And I guess it was a producer or something that started the rumor. It was probably just to get people to go see it.
Well, it was out there as a double feature with The Wicker Man when it was
Oh,
released.
really?
So yeah, that actually is kind of a killer double feature for 1973.
For real.
But so it kind of seemed like how Hitchcock got away with the 3 second kiss and having them stop is kind of how this director found like his editing style or his niche, because it sounded like he was splicing in, because a lot of this movie is it's going through, you're seeing what's happening now and it's either flashing forward or backwards, and it can be kind of disorienting to the
Definitely.
viewer. But in this, like, I guess the rule of then was you can't show humping, so they would
Oh.
have to cut to like him putting his pants on, and then next time they cut, they're in a different position. So there was never any
Oh.
thrusting or I thought this was I'll be honest, a hilarious sex scene. Um,
Tell me why.
first off, it sounded did you make note of the score in this scene?
No.
It sounded like they're
Actually,
having sex to the
no.
taxi theme.
Oh my God. I'll never be able to see it again.
I love the show, and I too have had it on in the background during intercourse. So,
Sure.
but I wouldn't. I guess maybe that's just a married couple thing. They were watching Taxi, it was
Yeah.
on, and then also the positions they were doing. Yes, of course, it does show Donald Sutherland going down on Julie Christie.
Yeah.
Very naughty at the time, and even now,
Yeah.
Gosling wasn't allowed to do it in Blue Valentine.
Oh, wow. That I didn't know. I don't know those rules.
Basically, like if a movie shows any pleasure to a female, there's a better chance of it getting an NC-17.
Oh, wow. Okay. Uh, yeah, yeah, you see him going down. You also get to see a lot of his pubic hair.
Yeah, you
And
do.
that's a gift. That's a gift.
He doesn't show any root. That hurts my feelings a little bit because if I see so much of the lady, requirement just a little root, but they somehow manage to never show it. You do see his very flat bottom though. It's got a
Yes.
tiny little cheeks.
Yeah, he just got a cute little butt. cute little behind.
Do you think that 1973 Donald Sutherland is sexy?
Um, I think that there is, yeah. I mean, it kind of, yes, I do. Even though he is kind of, I don't think classically handsome, but I think he's got like a swagger to him in this movie that I am attracted to somehow.
I'm gonna have to ask more questions about that because I think we watched the same movie. Um, like this guy throughout most of this movie is looking at little pictures. He's looking at his slides through the
Mhm.
projector. He's
Yeah.
looking at his Christian art or his Catholic art, I should say.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
there's moments that like I guess he's smooth in moments, but there's also times that he gives off Rick Moranis and Honey I Shrunk the Kids to me. There's like a little Wayne Zelinsky in there.
Oh wow. You know what, that I didn't get really, but I maybe have a thing for nerds, or like obsessives.
That's
So
fair.
I think that might be it. I'm like, oh, I'm like, look, he's so dedicated to his work. I don't know.
It,
That does
see,
it for me.
well, I like that the sex scene in this is like it really is kind of like that Seinfeld episode of There's Good Naked and Bad Naked, where they're
Yeah.
just like casually standing around naked. I mean, they're in the
Mhm.
bathroom, they both just bathed, but
Yeah.
they are just like full nude working on some stuff. Uh
Yeah.
you see, which this is kind of weird, he's just nude, still like looking at his doodles. He's always
Yeah.
doodling.
Oh,
He's always
yes.
doodling.
Oh, right. Yes, he's like naked working. He's like at his desk and then somebody walks in, right?
It's the maid of their hotel walks in and he spins and covers his penis and's
Yeah.
like, "Hmm,
Yeah.
well, say lovey."
I yeah, I don't know. I think I have to say maybe he's tall and thin, and this is like I mean, my boyfriend, my fiance, Matt, maybe it's his body type. Maybe I'm just like into that.
I just met
Actually.
Matt a
Yeah,
few
yeah.
seconds ago for the first time, and, they do have a similar build. You
True. And also he's got like the gray hair and yeah, maybe it's because that's funny though. I'm like, how cheesy to be horny for your fiance.
no, that's you were literally engaged, like, became engaged, like, 2 days ago. You got
Right.
engaged and then had to rewatch this movie. I felt bad.
I know. That's so
Like,
true. Oh,
you're
doing
oh
homework.
yeah. Well, where I watched this, we had to celebrate a very late Christmas at my in-laws' house, and
Oh
I'm on a
yeah.
laptop watching a married couple have there's a moment in their sexual positions where you can tell that they're normally missionary people, just good old mom and pop. Missionary is the move. But there's a moment where like I don't know how to describe it other than like it's mild scissoring, but they're like
Mm,
intertwined like a pretzel.
yes. Mhm. Mhm.
And you could tell that if the camera got to go just a little longer, you would hear, yeah, this one isn't working.
Oh, I think that's true. That is so true.
We've all been
I
there. It's
Yeah, absolutely.
where
Nope, this
you,
isn't
yeah.
it. No, out.
I know that 9 frames had to be cut from this scene, and one of them includes the word "ow." Yeah, that is for certain.
For certain. Oh my god. Yeah, real or not, honestly.
I guess tell people where we are in this movie. This opens tragic, sad
Yeah.
death.
Yeah, I felt bad also because I know you have a kid and watching somebody's child die immediately in the movie is kind of fucked up. But yeah, you do start with it's cool because it's the beginning of where you see that he's kind of like he can see the future a little bit. He's
Yep.
looking at his little slide. He's working. I like it. This hardworking man. He's looking at his slides, and then like something spills, and there's like blood, and his like daughter's running around in this little red coat, and then he finds her drowned in the pond or whatever.
And there's so many jumps where like I don't really understand the time frame between European vacation and daughter has passed. And also
Yeah.
there's another kid that we don't know where this kid is for a good, I guess maybe it's mentioned like in a line or two that they basically just sent the kid to boarding school or something.
And that was their kid.
The other boy, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that. Like, I just thought it was some neighbor kid that just they like put in. I didn't even know. That's how lost I was in this movie.
Well,
I had no
this
idea. There's a couple of times where I'm like, I'm not sure what's happening.
no, and that's absolutely goddamn fair. And this is another one of these. I think I've said this every movie we've done. I can't tell if I'm stupid or the movie's stupid. And this is one where I'm stupid for sure. Because most of the movies we've done, I mean, the last couple we've done a Dance with Death, which is about, at the time of you and I speaking, this one hasn't come out yet, but it is about
Okay.
a reporter going undercover as a stripper to solve a crime. This is the kind of
Oh,
things we've been watching. And you
yeah.
throw this like almost David Lynch style movie at me where you have to, there's metaphors and there's callbacks and like it's not a
Yeah.
movie you can just pop on once. I've watched this movie twice in 24 hours. Like this movie's
Oh,
homework. Great movie. A little bit of homework.
yeah. Yes, truly. I rewatched it, and yeah, we were in Puerto Rico on vacation. I got
I'm
back.
so sorry.
I watched it. Don't worry about it. I didn't tell you that. I wasn't like, let's not do Monday. Because I'm flying to Puerto Rico, but I also didn't know I was going to get engaged and all that. So anyway, I watched Don't Look Now. Uh, and after I finished it, I was like, I should watch that again. I don't think I really know that. Like, I don't really think I understand it. And I was like feeling really guilty because I was like, it's not really that erotic. And it is a thriller for sure in some ways.
Many
And
ways.
it is so crazy. It jumps around so much, and nothing less erotic than the blind woman that tells them that they're cursed. So like old woman with like the crazy eyes.
Yeah, so they're at a
Even that out of it
restaurant.
all.
These two old women are looking at him. She gets something in her eye. Uh, Donald Sutherland's wife says, I need to go help them. She goes in, finds out that it's this blind woman, which, as they walk into this bathroom, I'm confused because there's a scary woman that looks like she's sitting on a toilet. But I
Yeah.
think that she was the person that hands you your towels.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Right? Is
I guess like I'm paying too much attention to the details in the background. But blind woman so excited to say, I see your dead daughter. She's laughing.
so excited. And she's laughing. I feel like it felt like a hype your girls up in the bathroom trip. Like, yes, girl. Check it out. I see your daughter. She's laughing. Um,
A conversation that's happened to many of drunk girls on Broadway here in Nashville. Like it's
exactly.
happening as we speak. She's
I'm gonna
laughing.
s- I'm gonna start doing that. I see your daughter. She's laughing, but it makes her so happy. Julie Christie, instead of being freaked out by it, she was thrilled.
She was thrilled and she goes back.
Mhm.
She's so thrilled that she falls unconscious on the table and has to go to the hospital.
Oh right,
And then next thing that happens is they fuck.
that's right. It's grief porn. Grief porn. It's a
I mean,
very Niche.
A24 would love this in 2024.
Right, exactly. I kept thinking of that movie. What is the movie with the girl that gets her head knocked off?
Hereditary,
Hereditary.
which
Yeah, I was like, this is like that.
Ari Aster said this movie was partial inspiration for Hereditary.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like
Well, yeah, I could see
a
that.
lot of the movies, there's so many movies that have actually like copied this guy's style because this was super innovative in 1973. This seems like, I mean, this feels very art house. In that sometimes I had no idea what the fuck was happening.
Right. Totally.
After they have sex,
Hmm.
they go to the church, which I think a running thing with every movie we've watched so far is I'm a little confused at what someone's job is.
Yeah.
Like, like I got basically towards the end of this movie the first time, and I was like, "Wait, what? Like he's the guy who puts the little tiles and mosaics? What's this? Why him? They didn't have a
Why
guy."
they don't have another guy. That's his thing. He's restoring old
Church.
um churches, the art in them. Yeah, the mosaic tile. I know that's jumping ahead, but yeah, when he's fixing the mosaic tile on the shaky little stand that's like lifted in the air, and then he ends up falling. Spoiler alert. He I'm like, what is he doing? Yeah, like why is he the one doing that? It seems like if he's got the vision or the expertise, like he wouldn't be actually following through and doing it himself. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
I had a hard time. Like he's always just poking around churches, and like we will get to him falling off, but as we're
Yeah.
headed to the church for the first time, his wife
Yeah.
wants to make a pit stop at a different church to pray, even though she's not religious. Best part of this scene is that he's like looking into his hands. The blind woman's dancing around behind some bars. Then he looks up and he's like, "I'm an hour and a half late for my meeting with the bishop." I'm like, "What the fuck just happened? Did you sleep? Was he sleeping at the church?" And
Oh
and
yeah.
and when we get to the bishop, his wife immediately kisses his hands, and then later he's like, "You're not religious. Why the fuck were you kissing his hands?" She's like, "I don't know." That's very much like if I met a priest and I'm just like, "Ah, hello," and I gave him a smooch on. I thought that's what you did.
Yeah. You gotta kiss his ring or something. Is that I have no idea. Uh I love Oh my god, I love that. And also that's just a great reminder that there's so many times that I was like, what's going on? Like why? So I didn't even so actually
Well,
that makes sense. That makes more sense. I'm glad that you watched it twice.
so as they're talking to this man, his wife runs into the blind lady and her sister. Which, if you had to pin an age on these two women, what age range? I have no fucking idea, to be honest.
I
50s,
am
60s, 40s?
they could be anywhere from 45 to 70. I truly have no idea because they get it kind of is like the Golden Girls era where it's like everybody's hair looks so old and they all look old, but I think they're probably in their 60s.
But the blind lady had a certain whimsy to her that I think, at least cuts 10 to 30
Yeah.
years off.
Exactly.
Or
So
ends. I don't
anyway,
know.
yeah, they could be 45 to 70. It's my guess.
She goes to her husband after this meeting. She's like, they want to show us our daughter. He's like, I don't know. She's, well, I'm gonna go. She goes to the psychic's house and they offer her some whiskey. And before they get there, you see them maniacally laughing like witches.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
this is a movie where I'm constantly being presented with sketchy people for no reason. Like, there's never any payoff of somebody who seems out to get them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, because it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be confusing because you're not sure if you trust these women or not.
Wh- Which
If
is
they're
which is fair. So we get to this psychic reading. She goes in, they're drinking whiskey, they light candles, everybody's having a good time. And then as it's cutting back and forth between, like, once again, jumping around in time. Like, is it showing something forward? Is it going backwards? It's showing her husband now, who is seems like a peeping Tom in this situation as he's kind of trying to spy on his wife. But what's happening in this room is this blind woman is channeling their dead daughter, is she's basically doing like the When Harry Met Sally diner scene and having an orgasm while rubbing her breasts.
Oh, right. I forgot about the breast rubbing.
And
What was that? What was that? Why?
And I like to be honest with the listeners when I have to be, I guess. If I had to be hooked up to a machine that looked at my heart rate or where blood rushed at moments, there was something about that scene that was, I'll go ahead and say, the most erotic thing in the movie. But why was that the
Yeah.
way her daughter was speaking to her? She
Oh,
was like really working them. Like it was
really working them.
like if you've ever seen Mallrats, and
Yeah.
there's a scene in that where they go to a topless psychic who takes her top
Yeah.
off and is like rubbing her nipples as she is giving their psychic reading. And this felt like the precursor to that.
I think it must have been heavily influenced. Mallrats was heavily influenced by this movie.
Everybody was. Yeah.
And Mean Girls, like I can tell what the weather is.
Yeah. This should have been included in the musical.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh yeah, that's so I have the worst memory in the world. But yeah. I forgot about her rubbing her boobs. That is erotic. It was erotic. You didn't know what was gonna happen. Like,
And yeah, and this is something you alluded to a little bit ago. They
mhm.
tell her like, your husband has this ability too. They're basically just like, your husband has the shining.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
And in this movie, Donald Sutherland looks like all of our dad's best friend in their wedding photo.
Yes. Mhm.
Like, can you picture your dad's best friend finding out that he has psychic powers and now he has to deal with that? Like, we're both from the Midwest. Midwest
Yeah.
dads don't want to deal with that shit.
No, they would have dealt with it exactly like he did and just ignored it. Would have been like, "No. No. Mm-mm. Let me crack open another bush light."
That's all I can think about is like, how would my dad handle this? And just like, no, no, I don't talk to ghosts. I do not. Let me go work on
Exactly.
my mosaic and look at my viewfinder.
Yeah, that's all I wanna do. I just wanna look at my mosaics. Leave me alone, dead people.
I don't know. They tell him that something bad is going to happen to him in Italy, and he needs to leave. And she's like, "Can't you
Yes.
take 2 weeks off of work?" He's like, well, "Fuck, I guess." But luckily, their son gets hurt in the United Kingdom,
Yes.
but not so bad that they have to go. But the wife decides, "I'm leaving,"
Yeah. Like, she's
and
taking it seriously.
his wife heads to the UK to go check on their son at boarding school. He's staying home to work on
Mosaics.
his church
Ch
work.
church work. Yeah.
And during this time, that's where we get to he's up there, like, putting the little squares in the holes, and we get one of the funniest scenes in the movie. I mean, it's not a movie with a lot of comedy, but if you slap a different score on there, this
Mhm.
is this is Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Um, there's a running thing through this movie where if glass breaks, something bad's about to happen.
Yeah.
And he's up there, a board falls through glass, it knocks him off his, like, hangy wooden window cleaner at a skyscraper thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he makes did you notice on your rewatch, like, how bad the ADR was through most of the movie?
No, I didn't actually.
Like, half this movie sounds like it was completed in ADR, and I think the only way Donald Sutherland could make the sound that you would make when you're dangling and in danger is to
Yeah.
have done it to him. I'm not joking when the sound he makes as he dangles is, "Ah!"
Oh, it's so believable. I That actually makes a lot of sense. I don't, yeah, I wasn't really focused on the sound or anything, honestly, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's just a weird film. It sounds very strange most of the time. I guess because also you're thinking if you're in Venice, right? Probably a lot of noise, water
Yeah,
constantly.
yeah, the boom mics just weren't as good in 1973, so you have to have Donald Sutherland sit in a studio and, "Ah!" As a man,
Ah,
he's dangling, like, he's not high enough up that he's going to die,
right.
but he'll break both his legs, and
Yeah.
that will not be good. But a guy gets a pole and is poking him to get him to swing closer, which I don't know if he understood, because I don't know if this is just the version of this movie I had to purchase to watch it. But they don't give you any subtitles when people are speaking Italian.
That's how it was for me too.
Okay.
I watched it on like Showtime or something.
I don't know, like, I guess this movie, like, the director does a very good job of you're disoriented with the way it's edited, but also there's a lot of times where full conversations are happening in Italian, and you're just a fly on the wall that doesn't speak Italian.
Yeah, it's a lot actually. Because Donald Sutherland, he obviously speaks some Italian, and then yeah, he's having conversations in Italian a lot. Yeah, and I think yeah, towards the end of the movie when I was like, how what is going on? I definitely attribute it to that.
Donald Sutherland, he gets free. He's gonna go take a walk. He sees a boat go by. A lot of this movie in or they're not in Venice, right? But there's somewhere in Italy with a lot of canals. Like boat is
Yeah.
certainly the like rowboat is like a very big mode of transportation. Like even the ambulance when she passes out, they just strap her to what looked like the restaurant chair and sit
Yeah.
her in the boat. But he sees what looks like his wife dressed in all black with the two sisters, the blind lady and her sister going by. So, oh, my wife didn't leave. And he's trying to figure out what's happening. And there's a
Mhm.
big chunk of this movie, which is just him going place to place, trying to figure out where is my wife.
Yeah.
And all he can figure out is the blind lady stole her.
Yeah.
And that makes you seem insane when you have to try to tell that to an Italian police officer. My wife was kidnapped by a blind woman.
Yes. And then he tracks them down, right? Like he
The
but
well,
then
the why can't I think of the they draw the based on what you say, the description of the
oh, like a sketch artist?
yes. The he goes to the police and the sketch artist is like, "Is this them?" He's like, "Yeah, the one doesn't have eyes." "What's her eye color?" "Milky."
Milky.
"Do you like a milky eye?"
Do I
Yeah,
personally
like
find
where yeah.
that to be very erotic? No.
My wife on multiple occasions has said that she hopes to have a milky eye someday. And this is not a thing I also hope for.
Mm-mm. No, I don't want a milky eye. No, I they freak me out, actually. Milky eyes freak me out.
Do you think that the blind community would think this movie is offensive? Does it make blind people scary?
Um, yeah. Yes. Yes, it does. Yeah, it's pretty offensive. And also, I think me probably mean like I don't like a milky eye is maybe offensive too. And I hope not to get canceled over that.
That's the scary thing about podcasts is that you're gonna get canceled by the milky eye. The thing is, the people who have the milky eye also don't want the milky eye.
Yeah, true. True.
No offense to the people with the milky eye. It was just a joke.
No.
It was
Yeah, no offense, no
you're
offense.
beautiful.
Mm. Mhm.
I was
That
I was aroused by the Milky Eye woman, okay? Just
Right,
back off
exactly.
Milky Eye community.
Yes.
But so he's going to the police. He's going to a guy who's like, "Did you look for her?" He's like, "I'm fucking looking for her now." He goes to the cardinal, and then this is where like shit's getting so confusing
Mhm.
because he does talk to his wife,
Yeah.
and she's in the UK, but she's being so weird.
Yeah. She seems like a little drunk or something. Like she's like, "Yeah, I was just at drinks," or like, "I just came back from this," and she's like kind of giggling, and it's like almost like she's in a different movie because when she left, she was so stressed because she had just been told that everything is going to go bad in Venice or wherever they were, wherever they are in Italy, and and then she like left in fear, and then she's there and she's like, I don't know, it's so weird.
It it has the vibe of like, is she crazy? Is this all in her head? Is like nothing? I'm getting very confused. Do these women exist? But I feel like he saw them. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just getting
yeah,
very like I finish a David Lynch movie and I'm like, I totally got it.
yeah. That's so true, actually. There's so many David Lynch stuff, like sort of things here, because the act, I mean, just in general, it seems like sometimes people are in a completely different movie um, than the one that we're watching. That's so hard to follow.
Well, and all of the men that he went to for help, like the police and whoever, maybe a guy at a consulate. I didn't really. He spoke English. I don't know who he was, but after he would leave, they would just have like there's an episode of The Simpsons where they're like, and we need to have a dog with shifty eyes so that you know he did the crime. Every Italian man had the shifty eyes. Like they're like looking
Yes.
back and forth, like I definitely did this because in the middle of all this, there's now a subplot of there's a serial killer on the loose.
Yeah. And do you remember when that subplot begins? Because I don't. And I remember just thinking, like, towards the end of like that starts to become like a bigger thing. And, um, but I don't remember where it came in the movie.
So it's short. It's after he falls, and him and the bishop or whatever are walking by, and they pull a woman's body out of the water, and you hear two women laugh as they pull the woman out, and there's a bunch of people standing around. So he's getting this imagery of like his drowning daughter, but now
Oh,
there's a
yeah.
serial killer, and there's a moment where like a baby doll's floating in the water, and there's he gets the imagery again of like his daughter being pulled out of the water.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. I
But
do remember
at
that.
the moment though, where they're like, "Yeah, of course, there's a serial killer on the loose." That was another moment where I'm like, "Did I miss this 20 minutes ago?"
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
did I look away and miss that there is now a murderer, and is it the blind woman?
Yeah, and I think that's what it's like everybody's a suspect. Because everyone has the shifty eyes. So that's like starts to like increase the thriller aspect of it of being like, is he talking to the serial killer? Something bad's gonna happen? Is the blind woman right? What is gonna happen? But it also is so confusing all the way through. Even piecing it together now. I'm like, what?
After he, gets the call from his wife, he basically hears from the cops, are like, "We got that blind lady. You need us to rough her up," and he's like, "Oh, fuck." So he runs, goes to the blind lady, "My sister left me," and she's like, "I've just been sitting in jail all day." And he has to walk this blind woman home, and I don't even know if we mentioned throughout this whole movie, he keeps you maybe mentioned at the beginning, he keeps seeing a figure in passing wearing a red raincoat like his daughter had on at the beginning.
Yeah.
So at this point, like his wife's already on her way back. He's going to the blind lady's house. And as he's leaving, he sees somebody in the red coat. We spend like the next 15 minutes of him just running through canals.
Yeah. Like climbing over boats and stuff. It is a very long scene of him chasing after this red coat girl.
And now his wife is chasing him too. She is now back. She's figured out where he is. They're both she's chasing him, he's chasing the person in the red coat.
Yeah.
We get inside of like this boat dock underground creep fest lair where
Yeah.
she's Blair Witching it in the corner.
Yes.
What was your reaction to this in 2020? You're inside, COVID's a thing, you
Yeah.
can't go anywhere. What happens?
Oh my God. So I can't believe that he's following this person to begin with. Like anytime I'm watching a horror movie or anything like this, I'm like, what are you doing? But so the person in the red coat, is that where we're at?
Yep.
We're gonna say. So the person in the red coat turns around and the reveal is this definitely David Lynchian type character,
Mhm.
like a little person with one of the most interesting faces. Uh,
Yeah.
like long nose, and then this like kind of curvy little smile, and the way that they're smiling, and then you're just like, what? And then she pulls a knife out of her pocket and stabs him in the neck. And it was an incredible moment. Just did not see that coming at all.
Going back to, like, this feeling very David Lynch, have
Yeah.
you seen Mulholland Drive?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Another erotic thriller that we will cover on this show eventually when we
Yeah.
have the time.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but the opening of that movie to this day is one of the scariest things I've ever watched on film.
Yeah.
I don't scare easily in movies. Like, it's rare. It's very rare that something, like, shakes me in a movie. I'm very desensitized. But at the beginning of Mulholland Drive, they go around that diner and, like, a scary homeless person I don't even know what you describe. Like, it's almost like a mud-covered witch pops out from behind a dumpster. I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know I was watching a horror movie, and I remember being awake all night. I was watching that
Oh.
alone in the dark at, like, 3 in the morning, and fuck you for doing that to me again. Y
Oh my God. It is
your
scary.
your description of this woman was so delicate. Uh, Wikipedia isn't as kind.
What does it say?
Wikipedia says he believes it's the child. The figure turns to face him, revealing that it's a hideous female dwarf. That's just this person's face.
I know. That's why I said it was an interesting face. It's an
But
interesting face for sure.
you're right, though. She has a meat cleaver,
Yeah.
slices his throat. We go
Yeah.
back to the editing of we see his daughter, we see him having sex, we
Yeah.
see his wife going by in the boat for his own funeral.
Yes.
What? So, wait, this is where I'm dumb,
Yeah.
other than the rest of this podcast, as
Right.
you've just listened to for nearly an hour. Was the dwarf the serial killer?
Yes.
Are we sure?
I'm not sure.
I think that it was a dwarf that's like, "Why the fuck have you been following me for 6 days?
Yeah.
Fucking leave me alone. I'm little." Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, just got over it. Yeah, it's like, no, I think that the dwarf is definitely the serial killer. The smile she has on her face when she turns around and she's like, got you. Like, it's so, it's so weird. She has to be. And she has that knife in her pocket. No way. She's going to be. She's the serial killer.
So she's just going around hacking up full-size women
Hmm.
and hucking them into the river or the sea.
True. That's actually a good point. And it's interesting that this would work at all for anyone else that's not Donald Sutherland, like this like little girl in a red coat running around. Like I don't know if I'd follow a little girl running around in a strange city, you know? Like I wouldn't
Well,
do that.
Yeah, but a blind woman just told you that you got The Shining. So
True. True, true,
all
true.
bets are off on this vacation.
Yeah. Oh my God, true.
I was so confused, and I mean that was certainly the biggest thrill of the movie. It's just a person turning around. I
Mhm.
don't know if I was expecting like a ghost or just like maybe do it like House on Haunted Hill where it's just a shaky skeleton like jiggling around inside of a raincoat. But I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting this female dwarf, this interesting
Mhm.
looking, wonderful woman with a meat cleaver.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it fucked my night up.
Yeah. It is really
So
bizarre.
I don't know what to do with a movie like this. This is like
Yeah.
we watch stupid movies here,
Yeah.
and this is like this movie has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. I bet if you looked at every other movie
Oh,
we have
wow.
done, it has to be twice as high.
That's amazing, especially considering I mean, yeah, I agree, I'm with you on the fact that I might just be too dumb, for sure. But I was lost a lot, you know? So that's cool. Alright, so this movie has actually got a high rating. Cool.
Yeah. So everything I've read, so this movie wasn't super well received when it came out, but that
Mhm.
over time, I think so many influential filmmakers have cited it as a source of inspiration for huge movies. Like even Spielberg has said like some of the editing for Schindler's List
Yeah,
was
the red coat.
inspired. Yeah, was
I
inspired.
actually honestly almost said that. I was like, it's like Schindler's List. There's the little girl with the red coat. Um, no way. I am so surprised that that's actually what I can't believe I was right. I'm like, that's not even a joke I would make. Like, I don't know if it's funny to like bring up Schindler's List. But yeah.
It's not. Uh,
No. No.
this is I don't know, like I started looking though, because after I watched this movie last night, I was in just such a weird place because I'd watched such like a weird movie about grief and it wasn't very horny. And then I started thinking, did this director make anything horny? So,
Mhm.
and
Of
thank
course.
God that my nightcap, before I shut my eyes, was looking at his filmography and finding that in 1995 this now acclaimed director, Nicholas Rogue, great fucking name. Donald
Mhm.
Sutherland named his kid Rogue after this director.
All
Um,
right.
he made a movie in 1995 starring Mimi Rogers uh, called Full Body Massage.
Oh, amazing.
And I am a professional. So on my in law's couch, on my laptop, I
Mhm.
found Full Body Massage and watched most of it.
Nice.
And it's worse.
Yeah.
It's a worse movie, but 1,000 times more erotic. So, I felt very
Good.
weird, like, that I saw so much of Mimi Rogers within 4 minutes of that movie.
Yeah.
But the way when she's getting these sexy massages, they're doing all these, like, jump cut edits where, like, she's somewhere else and it's back, so it's okay, he ran with this style.
Yes. Yes, he loves that style. Okay, good. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
And no, you don't. I assure you, you don't. Um, but it
I
does seem
assure
like
you, you don't.
he worked because you're a musician. He
Mhm.
did work with Mick Jagger and David Bowie on their music videos. So like
Wow.
he did have a career post this movie, and you know it was acclaimed. So you showed me a good movie that I am ill-equipped to talk about. That this is
Yeah. It turns out though I couldn't either. I was like, I am like watching this movie for the second time, and as we're going through the plot of it, I'm like, oh yeah. I don't remember anything apparently except for the sex.
respect because as I leave, that is what I'm going to remember with this movie too. Just them doing the
Yeah.
pretzel and being
Yeah.
like, "No, I can't. This is
Yeah.
like I'm not cool enough for this move
Yeah.
wherever this was added."
Exactly.
So to bring it home,
Yeah.
scale of 1 to 5. Were you aroused? Usually Kit asks these questions and it feels creepier
Yeah.
coming from me.
Yeah. 1 to 5. How aroused did I get in this movie? I'd say, oh, grief porn is interesting. I found myself aroused during that scene, but not
Okay.
during the so maybe a 3.
Wow, hi. But you also like in my opinion,
Hmm.
I'm not here to shame or
Yeah.
judge.
Yeah.
Uh so that to me that's okay, cool. For me, I think also maybe it's just like I'm not super into Donald Sutherland, but
Yeah.
I appreciate that he showed cheeks.
Yeah.
Like that's big. Julie Christie is beautiful.
Hmm.
The sex scene set to Taxi though. I think it was like if I
Mm.
watched it on mute, it
Hmm.
would play different than
Yeah.
if it and then Andy Kaufman comes in. It's low, but something happened to me during the seance.
Yeah.
What happened to me? I have to talk to a therapist now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if she was old, but she was talking to a dead child.
Rubbing her boobs.
They're like, those were, I don't know. I
Yeah.
can't go full one, maybe
Yeah.
1.5 to 2.
Okay. That's fine. You can also go 1.
What was it thrilling? 1 to 5.
Oh, it was, I would say it it was thrilling. Confusing but thrilling. The woman, yes, the dwarf turning around, that was thrilling. Maybe 3.5, 4. I don't know.
I think I think that's fair.
Yeah.
It's this one is hard too because as the movie goes, I'm more confused, but I think that's part of the intention. There's a lot of things that are disorienting with the movie, so I just don't know what's happening. But then my heart rate raised when that woman turned around. I was
Yeah.
horrified.
Yeah.
Like she could have been anywhere in my house.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess I'll go 3 as well. The rest of the
Yeah.
movie, not so much, but a 3. And like I said, the next question, this doesn't really apply because there's usually like
Yeah.
somebody who's seducing or would I ruin my life? I mean, it sounds like you would for Donald Sutherland.
I
Like,
guess it turns out maybe, but I think would you ruin your life for the blind woman?
so
If she told
me
you
and
you had The Shining.
I have The Shining. Me and the blind lady are sitting around.
Yeah.
We have a couple. What's the drink that Stanley Tucci makes?
Oh, a Negroni.
The Negroni. We have a couple Negronis.
Mhm.
I'm like, hey,
Mhm.
let's talk to Hendrix.
Yeah.
Let's like I just like pick like let's talk to a musician, and she starts rubbing.
Yeah.
This leads to that. We kick her sister out of the room.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I will
Yeah.
ruin my life
Mhm.
for this blind psychic woman.
Mhm.
But she
Yep.
keeps things interesting.
Yeah, because she keeps things interesting. I think so for sure. I would ruin my life for that woman. She it's very thrilling to think of somebody being able to like talk to dead people. So I would move, you know, to Italy to be with her. Sutherland, yeah, same. I would definitely. Yeah, unfortunately, that is, I know you don't see it, but I guess I do. And I would ruin my life for this man who is just putting up tiles in old churches. Yeah, would love to.
Julie, beautiful, but is also dealing with a lot of grief
Hmm.
in ways that I don't understand.
Yeah,
I think that it's too complicated and not what I'm looking for right now.
yeah, that's actually a good point. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
okay. So as we wrap up here,
Yeah.
so you I am a fan of your music. I really really like your music. It is
Yay.
a style of, I mean, you would say country western, right? Or
Yes,
would you,
yes,
if you have to pen yourself in a genre box?
yes. My genre is, yeah, country western.
And I love, it's a really great type of country western that I think, I don't know, at least when I was growing up, I was not a country fan. Other than like living in the Midwest, hearing a lot of Garth Brooks and Brooks and
Hmm.
Dunn in my dad's truck, which I still enjoy.
Hell yeah.
But then like we hit this really great era of country where there's this like it's almost like, I don't know if you want to call it new country, it's like new outlaw country.
Yeah.
Not
Hmm.
in you with the umlauts, like new metal, but
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
have your Margos and your Sturgills and your Tyler Childers. You fall into this like really great resurgence in outlaw country, and I fucking love it. And
Yeah.
everybody should listen to your music.
Thank you. Yes, Megan The Wheelers. You can follow us, listen to our stuff. We're on Spotify. And yeah, actually, I think you're the person who turned me on to Margot Price. So I owe that to you, like how I'm
Wow.
moving my, how I've moved my musical career in that direction. I think you could say, you could take all that credit, I guess.
I mean, if it's given to me, I'm going to take it, but I don't think I deserve it. But yeah, no, everything you've
Yeah.
released has been just phenomenal, and I'm always excited when I see new music come out from you. Um, as far as country music goes, if you
Mhm.
had to choose somebody from country music to be the star of an erotic thriller,
Ooh.
who in country music do you think would be the best?
Hmm. The star of an erotic thriller.
I guess you could like even recast like a Basic Instinct or a Fatal Attraction with. Unfortunately, there are like a few country singers that do act, um,
Uh-huh. Tim
but
McGraw.
my brain went to Dwight Yoakam,
Oh, Dwight
but
Yoakam, yeah.
he's definitely like the little person in the raincoat. Like he's not
Mhm.
gonna be our Michael Douglas. Maybe
No.
there was a time.
Yeah.
He is my
No,
favorite
you're
movie of
right.
all time.
Oh, you know, who would it be? I think you could do like yeah, like a Sturgill Simpson. Do you think he No, you know what? Charlie Crockett. Okay. Country version of a Charlie Crockett. You know who he is?
I
He's
am
like
familiar with the name, but I don't know think I know what he looks like. I'm looking him up right now.
okay. Really handsome. Um he's got a very strong, like he's got like a Cajun country vibe.
I am looking at this man, and I'll tell you, I don't think he's the lead. I think this is the man that the lead's wife sleeps with in the bathroom. He is the handsome European guy and
Oh,
unfaithful that's gonna sleep with Diane Lane.
yes, you're right. You're right. You're right.
But he could also be the because Michael Douglas was he
Mhm.
cheated.
Yeah.
I could
Yes.
see this guy, like, I'm sorry, Charlie, but, like, I could
Yeah.
see you being the cheater in the movie.
Yeah.
That doesn't take away from how handsome you are, and I don't know your music.
No, but yeah, I mean, you could do a Sturgill Simpson, Margot Price. I think they'd be a um, perfect pair.
I no, I'm all in on that. That's a movie I'll watch, and I'll check out Charlie's music.
Yes, do it. Yeah, he's good.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and, taking time out of your busy, newly engaged life to be on this, stupid show with me.
Thank, thank you for having me. It was really nice to talk about a weird movie with you.
Yeah, we hadn't talked in real life in
Yeah,
several years, so I'm glad that this is the conversation we got to have.
totally. Totally.
Very little catching up, mostly celebrities' privates.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, what turns you on about this weird movie? Like, nerdy science guy, and you, blind psychic woman. So that was
I've
cool.
got a
That's
type.
good to know. That's really great to know.
Yeah. Well, where can the people find you on the social media?
My account is Reindeer Meg on Instagram, and then Megan The Wheelers is my best one to follow. Megan The Wheelers on Instagram or Facebook if you got that still, or yeah, Spotify. Follow us there.
I can't recommend Megan the Wheelers enough. If you're in the Chicago area, it seems like you're constantly playing shows. It seems like it would. I always see a lot of updates. I'm so sad I haven't been able to make it out to one yet, but I
Yeah,
am very much. I've seen that you've been playing shows too with musicians I really love. So it's a double bill of people I like. I mean, you've had Josh Headley, you've had uh,
Black Joe
Black Joe
Lewis.
Lewis. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
been doing fun stuff, and it's super cool to see it happen.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a very exciting like couple of years, and hopefully, yeah, more. We're recording next month some more songs, so I just keep going. I'm gonna try and come down to Nashville again too. So we'll have to see you then.
Absolutely, we will
Yeah,
definitely make it out to a show, or I
yeah.
will. The baby will
The
stay
big.
home.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, most likely, unless it's a matinee. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah.
As always, give us a follow at Erotic Thrillers Club on Instagram. I am at Gartet on Instagram. Erotic Thriller Club at gmail.com if you have any questions, comments, concerns. The music at the beginning is done by Coed Pageant. Our art is done by Anthony Canassis at Two Flames Media on Instagram. And as always, we want to shake you naked and eat you alive.